Alright, here I am trying to figure out what is going on with this 30-inch Toro Timemaster. It's a really great mower. However, I have only probably used it on about 5 or 6 yards, or 5 or 6 different times, some on the same yard. And I was beginning to have trouble with this. When the blade is engaged on this push mower, you can actually start it without the blade being engaged like most push mowers. And so when you engage the blade, then there's a system under here that we'll look at that kicks in a belt that begins to spin around some spindles and then grabs onto the blade. Well, something in there has rattled loose, and I've already opened it up and kind of looked at it and figured it out, but I'm just going to show you how I got to that point and what we're going to do to fix the problem. So the problem really is that when I was literally just mowing and all of a sudden I felt it start shaking. Actually, before that I smelled kind of something like a rubber burning, and all of a sudden the mower started shaking and I heard just a knock, knock, and then the blades just started hitting something. And I was like, what in the world? Did I hit a piece of metal? What? So I immediately disengaged the blade, and then the sound ceased. It stopped. So I thought, well, it's not the engine. Thankfully, I didn't blow a rod in the engine. So I began to do some research to open this up. So I'm going to show you how we're going to fix this problem in case you have the problem, because apparently these Toro Timemaster 30-inch mowers are all having this problem because of faulty pulley spindles or pulleys. Okay, so we're just going to look at this. There are 4 screws that go right here, and I have already taken out a couple of them and loosen those up. So I'm going to go ahead and take this thing off right here and set that aside. And then you're going to see here you've got the PTO clutch here. You've got these pulley systems, and then you've actually got the one spindle that there's 2 blades on this mower. Most push mowers is 1 blade, but there's 2 blades on this mower. So this is the spindle for the right blade, left blade under the PTO clutch. And so what has happened is this spindle literally just stripped off. It literally just spun off itself, and all those parts in the middle have just literally come apart. You can't really see it, but they've literally come apart. And then this, the middle, the guts part of this spindle is still attached here. So what we want to do is we want to actually take this bolt off and replace this. I just got a replacement part. It was like $13, and the man at the dealer told me they're having trouble with these pulleys, and so he said, I'll just give you the new one that they figured out, I guess, is a better pulley. So we're just going to take the old one off and replace the new one. So pull out some of my tools here and figure out what size that is. Just going to kind of estimate. Okay, so what I have got to do here is this is going to take a little bit of time. I have to actually take this whole, it's basically, in a nutshell, it's not really a tension pulley, but this is how you adjust the tension on the spindle that's back here. Okay, so to go back and forth, once we put the belt on, we're adjusting it back and forth to make this belt snug. So we actually have to take this system off in order to get this nut off, because there's this bolt off, because there's a nut underneath that we got to hang on to so we can get it off. So we got to take this apart, first. So I'm just going to simply start here. And this is a 13 millimeter. Okay. Take that nut, put that on right there. Okay. Bunch of junk in there. Okay. We've got another bolt under here that I'm not sure if it's going to come. It should, because there's not a nut underneath the other side. It should be just straight in. This bolt off. So there's that bolt. Okay. And there's one behind this as well, just like the previous one. Alright, so now that we have that loose, we're going to just pull this whole piece out of here. Okay. I'm actually going to clean the junk out here as well. Okay, so then you see here, we're going to just simply take this piece right here, and it has a nut on the other side. So we're just going to take our 13 millimeter wrench and we're going to just loosen this sucker off. Put this back together quick. It shouldn't take too long. But I'm just loosening this up. A lot of this stuff is just, once you get the hang of fixing different pulleys and different parts to the engines, you'll get used to it, how to do things like this. It's more or less just figuring it out. Okay, so now notice this on the inside. This is what stripped off the other piece over here. See, so this was on the inside. This is the guts of it that spins around, and that just literally just ripped off. So that was just a whole bad part, bad by the manufacturer, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. And let's see, I want to make sure I got this right. This is the new piece here. So what we're going to do is open this up. Okay, I'm going to open this piece up, and we are going to put it on. This side will go down, this piece. It will go up this way. Okay, because obviously these screws, as you can see on this other one, are up on the top side. I wonder if I should have gotten a second one for that part. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, we'll take the sticker off. Assembled in Mexico. One thing that wasn't made in China. What a shocker. Okay, so that piece can go on the bottom. Make sure these screws are facing up. Okay. Then we're going to go we're going to put this right back on here. Make sure that washer is up on the top side. Put that up like that. Just got to kind of get it down through there. Okay. And I can hear my sons upstairs getting ready for bed, making noises. So let's see here. Now I'm just going to tighten this down, flip this the opposite way. That's just a cap to go on there that I'll put later. So I'm just going to tighten this down. Okay, then we're going to put this right back where it goes. Now, in order for me to want to make sure it's about where we had it last time, I'm going to look at where, if you can see where these bolts were tightened down around these areas. That way I don't have to try to figure out the exact adjustment. I'm going to be pretty right on if they're tightened right down on those spots. That's just a good thing to note. So I'm not trying to figure out how tight to have it. Now I'm sure I'll have to adjust it here in a few minutes, but nonetheless, I'll just kind of put it right back in here. And it's actually going to have to be to the inside. And then I've got to actually bring this belt up around. Now notice it's going to be tight here. So I've got to actually put this tension, this would be called a tension pulley if you have a tension lever on like your zero turn mower, but this is actually the tension bolt, or the bolts to use to get the right tension. So simply what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it. I actually counted these little things here, these little teeth. I counted 7 so that I know that the tension is right. 7 on the other side of this bolt here, because it's going to begin to actually pull that this way, as you will see here in a minute. Oh, I want to get it on the right size. And then obviously I'm going to have to pull it to the tension's going to have to be so that these actually fit down. So we'll know really that it's almost like you don't even have to know the adjustment, because those bolts just have to fit in the right spots. Okay, so make sure that your belt is around everything that it needs to be for this. Okay, so I'm just going to begin to tighten this. That doesn't want to go all the way around, so I'm going to have to do it this way. So I'm taking this bolt that we took off, and I'm going to tighten it up down in there. Alright, I've got this little extension here, and I'm just going to put it in here so that I can Alright, one thing I failed to mention, after you put these bolts in here, don't tighten them all the way down, because we're going to go back and adjust this tension bolt just for a second, because the blades underneath, if they're not right underneath, as they're spinning, they could connect and hit each other. And I checked under the mower, and that's actually what's happening. So what we want to do is loosen this tension, and we're going to actually simply twist with the belt not so tight. We're going to twist one of the blades up and down this way underneath, and one this way. That way, as they're spinning, they're the opposite, and they're not going to hit each other. Because as soon as I turn this, engage the blades are going to smack into each other, and I'm going to really tear something up. So you want to make sure your blades are not going to conflict with each other. So that's why I'm going to actually loosen up this tension. And let's see. Excuse me. So I'm going to loosen this up. You can also just loosen one of the blades underneath and tighten it that way as well. We're going to get it off, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to feel the blade underneath here, and I'm going to bring it so that it's facing up and down this way. Okay, so that blade is facing up and down that way, and this blade is facing this way. Okay, so now we're going to get this back. Make sure that it doesn't move. Just pull that back down around there. Let's see. Both blades are the opposites, so as they're twisting, they're not going to conflict with each other. Okay, so now we're just going to tighten this back up. It's like it's in the right spot. So then I'm just going to tighten these back down, put this extension on here. Okay, I'm going to spin that. Okay, so as I keep spinning that, notice there's no knocking underneath. You can hear the blades, and I'll actually tip it up and show you in a minute how the blades are not conflicting anymore. So we're going to put this back. Notice there's the 4 bolts. There's one on the back side, one on this. I like to get this top one in first because it kind of pulls them up. Alright, I'm going to show you the blades. Make sure you always tip the mower oil dipstick stick side down. Okay, so you'll notice as the blades are spinning, that one comes around, passes by, and then that one goes around. So these are the opposite. Excuse me. These are the opposite. So this one's going 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. This one's going, you know, basic, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So as they're coming around, They're going the opposite, so they're not conflicting. Okay, so that's really how you replace that pulley that's messed up to engage the blades here. So that's how to do that.